Welcome to the Fascia-Informed Therapist, the essential podcast for occupational therapy professionals looking to deepen their understanding of fascia's pivotal role in therapy and health. I'm your host, Amy Mayer, an experienced occupational therapist, practice owner, and dedicated educator. Here we'll dive into the fascinating world of fascia, exploring its significance in the human body and its critical influence on occupational therapy practice. Each episode will bring you cutting-edge insights, expert interviews, and practical strategies to help you confidently integrate the science of fascia into your therapeutic approach. Whether you're a seasoned practitioner or just starting out, our goal is to equip you with high-quality, evidence-based, and fascia-informed continuing education opportunities that will enhance your skills and benefit your clients. So join us as we unravel the complexities of fascia and transform the way you practice occupational therapy. All health and wellness practitioners are welcome. Let's learn, grow, and evolve together. Hi, I'm Amy, and this is another edition of the Fascia-Informed Therapist. Today I want to talk about who's paying attention to fascia and who isn't. Let's start with the early adopters. Yoga and the yoga community have definitely been early adopters of the idea of fascia science and how to integrate that into what they do. And I believe that's a result of really two factors. One is a lot of the fascia researchers, Thomas Myers, Robert Schleif, have been sort of shouting from the rooftops saying, hey, yoga is a really good thing to do for your fascia because it gives your fascia all those movement nutrients that it needs, the expansion, the compression, the twisting, the end range of motion, the long holds, the variety. And the yoga community listened and paid attention. They're learning. And some of the first places that I've been able to go here in my own community to listen to someone talk about fascia other than myself was the yoga community. And I think that's amazing. I think that's great. But the yoga community doesn't have to listen to insurance companies and adopt evidence-based practice and do the things that we need to do in healthcare. So they can move so much more nimbly in terms of adopting and integrating new ideas. So they are creating yoga classes for fascia. They're talking to their people, their attendees that come to their classes about fascia. And then sadly, not sadly that they start to feel better, but it's sad when then they take that and they go to their physician or they go to their therapist, they go to somebody in healthcare and say, hey, what about fascia? And we don't know anything about it. That is sad to me. We should be staying on the cutting edge as much as the yoga practitioners are, but I totally get the difference and why it moves so much slower in healthcare. So the next early adopters in fascia science has been beauty, the beauty industry. And one of the big areas, and I just wrote a long blog about this, is cellulite. When the beauty industry can capitalize on something that will sell us more products, they're going to run with it. And there have been some people that have, I don't really want to say the name of the product, but there's people out there selling products that are supposed to get rid of your cellulite by addressing the fascia and with really aggressive techniques. And I have had women show up in my practice who have used some of these techniques, equipment, strategies, and ended up damaging their tissues. So the cellulite is when the superficial layer of fascia does and can get a little stiffer, and it's naturally stiffer in some people, and those little branches that come off the superficial fascia and attach to the skin, and then when adipose tissue or fat gets trapped in between there, then you get the appearance of cellulite. And so the beauty industry has definitely gone to town on all kinds of products that will help you address your fascia and help to reduce that appearance of cellulite. And you can read the blog, but it's probably going to be temporary. But they have developed some more needle-based techniques that will go in and sort of strip away those little tight areas of fascia that are pulling down to make that little dimple. But you've got to keep in mind that there are a whole lot of other structures in the superficial layer of fascia that we don't really want to be messing with. Is it really worth the risk? But I'm digressing just a little bit. So I've had women come and tell me that, oh my gosh, my esthetician who does my facials talk to me about fascia in my face. And is there fascia in my face? And well, yes, there is. It's everywhere. But they were surprised that they can go and hear about fascia from their esthetician. But when they go and talk to their physician about it, they get, oh, that's nothing. That's not important. Well, hopefully that will change. So we have yoga so far. We have beauty now. The next early adopters are athletics and high-level sports. They are paying attention to the science of fascia, and also because they don't necessarily have to follow evidence-based practice. They can take this information, they can apply it, they can see if it works, and if it does work, then great, we've got an edge over the other team, and we can continue to apply what works, whether it's scientifically validated or not. Now, of course, a lot of those people then do take that information that they can play with freely because they don't have to answer to reimbursers. They can take that and they take it, and then they start to do the science, do the studies, and then start to apply it more broadly. But if they can adopt it and get an edge and be better than the other team, then of course they're going to listen to what can we possibly do to have that edge. So what's the bottom line in a lot of this? The bottom line in a lot of this is, of course, money, dollars. The sports team that has the edge is going to win. They're going to sell more tickets. They're going to have less injured athletes and make more money. And that's the society that we live in. So let's talk about healthcare. So the way that healthcare is designed, it takes the research says about 17 years for something to really get integrated into what we commonly our everyday practice. And if you think through that, you think about, okay, well, somebody did the research, they have to write it up, that takes time, and then it has to get approved into a journal, that takes time, and then that has to be distributed, somebody has to read it, somebody has to start, after they read it, they have to have time to begin to think about how that integrates into what they're already doing. And in our fast-paced, insurance-based world, we just don't have a lot of time because of productivity standards at all levels, not just therapists, physicians, and all healthcare practitioners who are under insurance-based models. Or maybe they have a student who comes in, if they take students, who is learning about it. But before they can even learn about it, it's got to be put into a textbook somewhere where, and the faculty member has to be willing to adopt that textbook and teach that new thing that maybe they've never practiced. And then that student has to go out and share that with the clinicians who are out there practicing if there's time to do that. But in many places, students are just expected to learn what's going on and just keep up with what they're doing. I know that many students are asked to maybe give a talk, to do a project, but will that be their choice? And then it has to all become commonplace. Now, in the world of fascia here in the United States, it's not commonplace in insurance-based models, even though we have a CPT code that actually says myofascial release. So we have at least a code for doing myofascial manual therapy techniques. So that's good. That's a start. But we have to know the science behind why we're doing it, because our code of ethics say we should keep up. We should know what we're doing and why. We should have evidence-based, evidence-informed practice. But we have to keep in mind, too, that evidence-based practice is also, what do the people want? What does the client, the patient, want? People are Googling fascia for all sorts of things because they're hearing about it in podcasts, and they're hearing about it from their esthetician, from their yoga practitioner. And they want that information. Let's talk about the NIH. So the NIH, Helene Langevin was a Harvard faculty member studying acupuncture, which led her to want to understand better the fascial system, and now has produced quite a bit of research that says, hey, most of the pain that we're experiencing is really myofascial pain. And we need to be paying attention to this because we don't know how to treat it. And we need to figure this out because this chronic pain is part of our opioid epidemic. So there's been some big conferences at the level of the NIH talking about this the myofascial system, the fascial system, myofascial pain, all the system that's so highly innervated. And that has led to funding that has been put out. $5 million a couple years ago was put out to help recruit scientists to study fascia biomarkers, to tell us how do we know if it's healthy or if it's not healthy? What can we do to diagnose it? What can we use to determine if it's healthy or not healthy? How can we image it? How can we see it, since it's inside the body? And a lot of the techniques that we have now, or equipment that we have now, doesn't see it well. And even if it can, we don't really know what we're looking for or at in many cases. Well, there is a lot of research that's come out of Germany, Italy, Ireland, China, Sweden. There's a lot of research that have equipment and are looking and are studying and are explaining the difference between healthy and unhealthy fascia. So we're just getting that and taking that and building on that here in the United States. So that's, I think, most of what I have to say on this particular topic. I wanted to also tell you the story about John Sharkey. When I attended my first fascia research congress in 2022 in September in Montreal, Canada. And it was an amazing experience to go and attend that and see a lot of the fascia researchers that I've been reading their books and reading their articles and watching them on online videos and webinars and from all over the world. And I've definitely felt like a fangirl when I'm seeing all these people and listening to them talk live. And but one of the things I chose to do was to attend a all-day pre-conference session with an anatomist called John Sharkey. And the reason I chose to do that is because I heard him speak in several webinars online. And I really loved the way that he taught. And of course, listening to his Irish accent is super fun as well. Well, one of the things that he said in his pre-conference session was he spends a lot of time going around to surgical conferences and talking to surgeons about fascia science, and how when they're doing surgical interventions, there's strategies that they can use to spare the fascia, to respect the science of fascia in the process of their surgeries. And he said he's met with one of two responses from these surgeons. Some of them, and many of them, are, wow, this is so interesting. This is such amazing information. How come we don't already know this? How come this hasn't been part of what we've been taught? And they're just eager to absorb that information and apply it to their processes. But he said, sadly, there's a pretty significant group of surgeons who will look at him and just say, well, my outcomes are fine. That's kind of that's a disappointing, sad state of affairs. And I've had many clients who have had the surgeon who they go back to and they say, okay, I'm still hurting. I don't have the range of motion that I feel like I should have in my knee or my hip or after my shoulder surgery or my back surgery. And the surgeon, puts the images up on the screen and takes a look at it. And, this is what my clients have said that they have said to them. Well, my work is excellent. I can't see a thing wrong. Some clients have actually been told it must be something you're doing or not doing. But if you understand the science of fascia, that cutting into the fascia can result in long-term problems elsewhere in the body, either close to the surgical site or distant from it. And the worst part of that is you're leaving a person who is in pain or having problems with absolutely no answer. And if you understood the science of fascia, you would begin to have answers and how you can help them. And I've had clients who, after they tell me those stories and we start to work together, and it's not just the hands-on myofascial work, it's all the other things they can do to reduce the tension in their body, in their fascia, so that they can get better. So I guess my bottom line here is all these other areas are paying attention to fascia, and many of us in healthcare are not. And often our goal, especially in the area of therapies, and the reason we got into this in the first place, is to help people feel better, to have better function, and to have better quality of life. And if we want to do that, there's so many things out there that we can learn and understand and grow and help. And this is most definitely one of them. When we understand the human body and how it works, the fascia adds a whole nother layer to that and gives us a whole nother way of thinking and understanding and more strategies to help our clients improve and get the outcomes that they are looking for. So I hope that you will learn more about the science of fascia, whether you do that with me and with our classes, or whether you do that by seeking it out elsewhere. I hope that you will, because it is coming, and the sooner that we adopt it, the sooner we can make those differences that we love to see in our clients. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Fascia-Informed Therapist. It's been a pleasure sharing insights and strategies to help you integrate fascia science into your practice. I'm Amy Mayer, and I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore further and take your therapeutic skills to the next level. Remember, we're committed to creating and providing top-notch, evidence-based, fascia-informed continuing education that empowers you as an occupational therapy practitioner. Stay connected with us for more enriching content, and don't forget to check out our online courses to deepen your expertise. Until next time, keep expanding your knowledge, refining your skills, and confidently applying the science of fascia to your practice. Here's to advancing together in health and wellness.